Hello everyone, this is Colin on the ASCA League channel, and here we are back again for Race 5 of the Pennzoil Pro Series. This time at a new track, we go to Kentucky for the first time in the series history. We're going to have to see how these drivers perform at a relatively new racetrack. And here's your starting grid. Jay Durrell and Webster Zygarde make up the front row as quick as starters. And down the grid, some familiar names. Michael Jones, Brian Boone, Aaron Lukes, all have been present contenders. Kyle Singer tied for the points lead with Brian Boone, will start 9th. And continually, like drivers like Jaden Barker, Derek Petrie, Cody Russell, all big names starting up inside the top 8 rows. As you see Ryan Dunn coming off a good win, a good race, and then Arsha Sain, your winner from last week at Bristol, starting in those 4 rows. Hergio Arvin Alonso makes his return to the series, replacing Haley Wish in the 75. And Allison Rhodes back in the car makes another race this week, as well as Nia Deverett. However, a couple drivers had to miss out in the race. One notable, Jose Vequez, one of the first races he's missed in over 2 years. Anyways, the field will get in the hands of Jay Durrell as the pace car rolls onto pit road, and the green flag is in the air. The ASCA League making its debut appearance at Kentucky. And an impressive start by Webster Zygarde. He's going to take the lead on the outside line. And the PNG Chevrolet will blast by the 43 car, and looks like the 16's coming as well. Nikita Rizkov driving for Red Viper Racing, a team that hasn't performed too well this season so far. However, we saw a lot of speed out of the 16 in practice and qualifying, and he is now challenging the 12 car for the lead. And it was around this time last year that he started getting better. In fact, if you remember, he led a lot of the laps at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park before having an engine issue that put him out of contention. But behind him is this no stranger to the lead, Brian Boone, tied with Kyle Singer for the points lead, and your winner at Charlotte. He's definitely been on a roll so far and looking to capitalize on that, making it another great performance here at Kentucky. And how about last week's winner, Arsha Sain, making it 2 out of the 4 races, official races this season, that have been won by Knight Hoffman Racing, a new organization. They came out of Knight Racing and Hoffman Motorsports. The two teams merged and created a bigger whole. The teams definitely have found something, because now 2 of their drivers have won 2 out of the first 4 races. But how about behind him, Hergio Arvin Alonso? He hasn't made a start since 2015. He is back in the car after his 1-year suspension, and he is driving with Krispy Kreme on the car. And, he was in the Copy and Average Series, making his first Pennzoil Pro Series debut since 2015. But looking to see what he can do. He made his first race for Overdrive Motorsports, seeing if he can give him a good result as well. Riding on board, Brian Boone, definitely one of the top contenders each week, as he is riding in the Nebo Tools paint scheme this week. Usually piloted by Michael Jones, or it usually will be, but this week they will be on the 70 car. Webster Zygarde, though, is no stranger to the front either. Obviously, past experience tells us that he is a driver that can come up to the front and compete. He's won many of the preliminary season finales at Richmond. I believe he came close last year, and he actually won it in 2015. However, the 12 car has not had the results he's wanted this year. 2 42nd place finishes due to various issues, and not a better finish than 13th. He's definitely looking to turn that around here today at Kentucky, and it's not like he's had bad runs going. It's just not been the races have just not turned out well for him in the end. Jay Barker and the 2 cars had kind of a okay start to the season, not maybe up to what he's had in the past, but definitely an okay start for him. However, his teammate has had one of the best starts of his career. Aaron Lukes wins at Daytona and continues on and has some pretty good races throughout. He actually was doing very well at Atlanta as well, until he had that issue late in the race. But that has not stopped his progress. He's running a solid top 10 right now, just behind Sam Rogers, and showing national racing well. Here's Kyle Singer that we've been talking about, driving the Shark Energy colors this week. They have returned for Season 4. And Singer for Big Motorsports, it's no surprise to see a Big Motorsports car on top of the board, but I don't know how many of us suspected it would be Singer, but after a couple really good runs he's put together, he's on top of the board and tied with Brian Boone, so that's got to say something. And Kyle Collins behind him in the 83 car, also having a pretty respectable season. He's running 6th in points, a little over 20 points behind, and that's not a long gap to make up. 20 points is not that much when you're only 4 races into the season. You saw Blaine Keys behind him there in the 60 car. Atlanta winner earlier in the year, and he is continuing to have good runs. He's 8th in points. We're also looking at 7th in points. Ryan Dunn coming off his very strong result at Bristol for Double T Motorsports, a team that has now 2 of their cars did not qualify for the race, but he is currently running well midfield, and he's trying to keep that 7th place points result alive right now and maybe make it into the championship 20 this year. You see right in front of him Nick Purcell's in the 00 car. He's 13th after having a very solid start. Fell off from the past 2 races, but looking to try to rebound now with a new sponsor on the car, Orbit Satellite Technology. Chloe Baker could have had a much better start to the day, as she has apparently lost 2 cylinders and is now way off the pace. You can see that Irwin Chevrolet. You can barely even see the pack. There it is, but either way, Chloe Baker is abnormally far behind that group, and for Malley Motorsports Power, that is definitely not where Chloe wants to be right now. Hoping that this day ends a little quicker than it has started for her. As you see, Jay Durrell has found himself in the 4th position after starting out front. He had a great qualifying run, and it looked like this was going to be a track that he could start to work his season into his hands, like we saw maybe in 2015, but unfortunately that has not been the case, as he has fallen to 4th. A respectable run for sure, but Jay Durrell definitely wants to start turning things around. He's coming very close to his last win, which came at Road America last year. Michael Jones behind him, he won 3 races a bit ago. He won the 24th race at Armory Digital last season, and then the Bud Shootout and his duel. He's not had much success since then, looking to also turn things around here in the coming races. See Barker, though, on the issue of passing, this track does appear to have a bad variety of passing lanes, as Barker has been trying to make work of the 23 car in front of him for quite some time now. However, he just has not been able to find the speed to get around him, and it appears one of the spots to pass on this track is through the tri-oval, but because of how the tri-oval is banked, going on down on the apron can really disrupt the car, and you cannot make the pass happen. As we look at Aaron Lukes, he's coming down pit road to start the first round of green flag pit stops in round 30, almost to halfway, and Webster Zagard, the next lap by, will bring the rest of the field in, save for a few guys that decided to stay out, including Jay Durrell, looking to try to have some pit strategy. Blaine Keys had a really close call. You saw trying to slow down on the pit road. Derek Petrie almost wiped him out, but luckily that was a collision avoided, and Keys will be able to make it on pit road in the nick of time. Unlike a few of the last races we've seen, pit stops were not that eventful, as Webster Zagard will remain out front. Nikita and Brian Boone will follow suit in 2nd and 3rd. However, behind that there were a few changes. The 5 and the 2, National Racing getting their pit crews some props, as they have brought both of those cars up inside the top 5. And Luke's looking to try to chase down that 70 car. A few drivers had a couple poor pit stops. The 40 car had the jack drop on the car, and he actually went a lap down under that exchange. And in fact, he is at the tail end of the lead lap, so he's close to going 2 laps down. And Daniel Maxwell also had a delayed pit stop. He is a lap down as well. However, he's more into the front of the field of the traffic, and the only car behind him now is that 40 car. But as we see, the 26 car will be the 3rd car to go a lap down, as Chloe Baker is not getting any quicker, and you see the 12 car trying to go underneath. Chloe throws a little bit of a block, maybe trying to hope that a caution comes out right at this instance, but definitely not a courteous move there, as Webster Zygard will be able to make the pass though, and Zygard will continue his dominating performance so far of the day. Aaron Lukes and Jay Barker, though, will start to lose the 70 car as they battle side by side. They're going to make their way by Chloe Baker. Jay Durrell, who decided to stay out another lap, that did not quite pay off for him, as he did lose a position, and now he's looking to retake those spots he lost on pit road. There's a little bit of a shot overlooking the start-finish line as Webster Zygarde, Nikita Rizkov, Brian Boone, and Jay Barker go by. About 12 or 15 car lengths between each of those cars, but then the field kind of packs up again in 2 or 3 groups. As you see, a couple of the back markers here are more and strung out than the front guys. But definitely the field has strung out a lot since the start of the green flag. But we haven't seen any cautions today, and that has played right into Webster Zygarde's hands. And he's had some dismal luck, as he's had a couple mechanical issues as well as just not being able to finish and avoid the accidents that have happened during the race. And Zygarde, though, is continuing to impress here. He's actually run up front most of the races, just does not have the results to show for them. And he is finally getting the fruits of his labor now as he runs out front with probably the win in the near distant future. Jay Durrell 20th in points, you saw on the graphic there. He is looking to try to push himself a little bit higher than that on the cutoff line. It is still early, but that's stuff that you have to think about, because race 16 will be here before everyone knows it, and you don't want to put yourself in a compromising position where if you had one bad race, that could potentially slide you on the outside. So if you can build up a gap, and generally the rule is be inside the top 14 with about 3 races left, and you should be fine. That's where Jay Durrell wants to be, and it's where he's usually gotten himself to. However, he's looking to try to bring himself up from 20th, where he is at the moment. But other drivers like Addison Steinbeck are looking to put themselves in the top 28 to make themselves eligible to make each race each weekend. Addison Steinbeck currently on the outside of the top 28 and definitely wants to get some points to push him in. Webster Zygarde will lead the field for the start of the second round of green flag pit stops a few laps earlier than we expected, but Zygarde feels that tires are definitely necessary to make it to the end of the race, and he brings it down a little early, and in turn he will bring the rest of the field down just because they can't lose time like that on the green flag pit stops with Zygarde's fresh tires. The field once again will remain pretty much constant, but as you see, Zygarde has been making such good time. He's going to start to get around some back markers. Matthew Brown is the first victim to fall to the 12th car as the P&G Chevrolet just continues to show his dominance. We had a bit of an issue as Ryan Dunn, who was having an alright day going, he's going to have a speeding penalty as he just misses the commitment cone blatantly, and almost like what we saw with Blaine Keys earlier in the race, just did not have a good pit road entrance, and that seemed to be the big problem today, even if it did happen with 2 drivers. Nikita Rizkov and Brian Boone, though, they have also had pretty good runs, but just have not been able to compete with Webster Zygarde. Nikita's still looking for his first career victory, and Brian Boone, I'm sure, is happy with a 3rd place run, as he is definitely going to be looking forward to extending his lead over Kyle Singer, as he lost it last week, but definitely looks like he'll gain it back. Zygarde, though, he's definitely one to be looked out for. And a caution is out on the track. And a caution is out with 7 laps to go, and that is going to be more than enough time to have a restart. And Zygarde's dominating performance is now in question, as this is going to be big. Getting reports it's debris in turn 1. Not sure what kind of debris, but there is no accident. And I'm sure Zygarde is fuming at this. It's not too often we get debris cautions, but that will round up the field again. But since we're under 10 laps to go, the field will be single file coming to the green, and between him and Nikita Rizkov, there is Matthew Brown, which is the best bet Zygarde has going for him at the moment. And the field will lead him to the green flag, and Zygarde will have 3 laps to decide who will win this race, and if he'll be able to hold on and get the first win of the season, as Zygarde will tear it down into turn 1. Matthew Brown, though, not letting up on him, as Zygarde just trying to make it to the end here. Nikita Rizkov almost right on the back bumper, the 21 going down the back stretch. They're bumper to bumper. Jay Barker out of the groove just a little bit. Jay Durrell will take advantage of that back in the pack. Eric Willis silently has moved himself into a 4th place run. But at the front, Zygarde gets a little bit of distance between himself and the DW Motorsports driver. And Zygarde's so far so good. He hasn't lost any ground too much yet. And I'm sure Zygarde would have loved to take it home and win in dominating fashion. And it looks like he's going to do that, but definitely this caution flag and the green flag restart has shown that Zygarde definitely does have the fastest car, and it's not just distance that won him the race. Matthew Brown, though, I'm very surprised he's been able to keep up with the 12 car. Even Nikita has fallen off just in the slightest. Brian Boone looking to try and take the second position. The top three have been the same most of the race. And as we come to the white flag, it looks like it's going to remain that way. Eric Willis, though, talk about a surprising run. He was outside the top 15 earlier in the race, but he's found himself into 4th position. A very solid run by that Red Viper Racing car. But Webster Zygarde now has the podium, and he is going to stand on top of it coming out of turn 4. Big Motorsports will see the checkered flag for the first time this season. As congratulations, Webster Zygarde. He'll finally break the gremlins that have been haunting him so far in the first 4 races of the season and win the Deer Park 400. And that will put Chevrolet in victory lane once again. We haven't seen that since Aaron Lukes at Daytona, but it is good for them to be back. And they are going to celebrate today, as Zygarde will finally maybe be able to make a race without having to worry about not qualifying. He won't make the top 20 probably, but there'll definitely be a huge point increase, which is what he needed to get back into the run. And here's your finishing results. Kyle Collins, Jay Barker will finish in 5th and 6th. Rick Witt and Jay Durrell. Jay just couldn't catch a break as he kept slipping back at most every opportunity. And from 9th to 11th, a bunch of Malley Motorsports cars, save Chloe Baker, who had electrical issues earlier in the day. Sergio Arvin Alonso finished 28th after his first start, giving Overdrive Motorsports actually a pretty good run for them. Other drivers, Michael Jones, he fell back a long way. Nicholas Samudio as well. Both of those cars looking to try to have a little bit better run than that. Ryan Dunn, that pit road penalty will put him back in 40th. Garrett Sonora as well having a bad run today here. Matthew Brown, DW Motorsports as a whole looking to turn things around here in the coming races. And here are your point standings. Brian Boone will definitely string his points gap out. Kyle Collins with a 6th place run will jump up to 2nd place, tied with Kyle Singer in 3rd. Cody Russell, another Big Motorsports driver, will be 4th. And Jay Durrell will be 10th. Eric Willis with a solid run will be 12th. And Nikita Riskov also, and mentioned there, he'll be in 7th now after that awesome run. And the cut line now. Nick Purcell's Rick Witt tied on the board. And Webster Zygarde, after that win, he'll be just 5 points behind it. So no, he does not get in, but still opportunities to come. We'll see you next week in Indianapolis.
Every sky will build my friend.